It's been a cinematic few days for delegates and film lovers at this year's International Film Festival of India. From seeing stars on the silver screen to rubbing shoulders with them on the red carpet, the last 8 days have been an enthralling experience. We now bring you a recap of the most exciting moments of this year's festival.
Tell us about Catching Dust first.
Catching Dust is my debut feature film,
Okay.
and it's set in West Texas. It stars Erin Moriarty from The Boys, Jai Courtney from Suicide Squad and Terminator, and it follows their story. They're two Texans. They're stuck in the middle of the desert, hiding out from the husband's criminal past.
Yeah.
And a couple from New York get stuck with them, and it's about how these two couples' relationships develop into someone's untimely death.
While many celebrities walk the red carpet today, we were very lucky to get a small video bite with the director of Made in Heaven. We're talking about none other than Zoya Akhtar. So let's take a look at that.
So how challenging is it for a lady director in an absolute men's world, if you'd love to tell all of us at Doordarshan?
It's exactly the same as you in all the men's journalists. You're the only girl in the frame. I mean, we do our jobs, and I think everyone respects that. Once you know and do your work well and hard, I think people respect that.
The chairperson of the non-feature film jury at the 54th IFFI. Sir, you spoke about the 250 films you all had to choose from and cut it down to 20. How difficult was such a project to bring it down to a small...
It wasn't difficult. It wasn't difficult because, although the quantities, number of films have gone up, but quality has not kept pace with that. So it was not so difficult. It was like easy.
Thanasios, can you please talk to us and tell us a little more about your role in this film and the storyline of this lovely film?
We have a family with two brothers and a sister, and the father of them who is ill. He's very old. It's 80 years old. He stays in my house. The older child. The two brothers and the sister organize a reunion to celebrate the birthday of their father. But discussing some problems are starting to appear, and the cause is the money of their father and the house of their father, and who will take it. So they finally fight each other, and of course I don't will tell the end. It is not a happy end.
Stay in one of Portugal's most beautiful cities, Coimbra. Does that inspire your ideas?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up there, although I've been living around the world a little bit since I'm a grown-up. But Coimbra is my hometown, so every time I write a story, if the story fits, which usually does, and because it's inspiring for me, I try to shoot it in Coimbra and set up my action in this city.
A popular gentleman in the Tamil film industry. He was so eloquent this morning, Mr. Vetrimaran. Sir, I want to ask you about this crossover appeal that South Indian film industry has, it's taken off with a boom. What can you say about that?
Yeah, I think it's more representative of the common man. I don't know if I can say this, but Hindi films are what I wish to be. It's more on the fantastic side.
Yes.
But the South Indian films, it might be done in a very subtle, composed way or in a very extravagant way, but it just addresses the issues of the common man and it represents the common man. I think that is the reason why these films are working here.
We are happy to have one of an award-winning film director and writer amongst us, Mr. Angelos Rallis. Thank you for joining us, sir. Could you tell us a little bit about your film, Mighty Afreen, in the Time of Floods?
Yes, thank you for the introduction. Mighty Afreen in the Time of Floods is a film about climate crisis. At the same time, it's a coming-of-age story of an orphan girl, Afreen, who lives in a very difficult environment in the mud island of the Brahmaputra River. It's a place where floods, severe floods, are increasing year to year, affecting the lives of hundreds of millions of people who live in that area. So it is a film about displacement, about climate displacement, about climatic refugees, about the influx from the countryside to the city due to the climate. And it is an urgent topic that addresses important situation and asks the world community, the United Nations, the governments, all the world to take action against climate change and to eventually recognize the term climatic refugee.
Well, going back, how did you kind of get the idea of writing and about a theme about it's about Sana?
I mean, only thing of value you have to contribute to the world is what you've lived through. And I think there is an epidemic of perfection happening in the modern world. I'm part of it. I'm stuck in it. And it can be very cruel. It can cripple you, prevent you from asking for help, place such onerous standards that nobody wins. And it's 10 times harder on women who are also historically dealing with the burden of inequality. And to shake off those shackles, they have to appear to be 10 times stronger. So the pressure is insane. Anybody can crack up. And really, the idea was to write something in that world and enter it in a very interesting way and do something that really speaks to, modern Indians living all over the world in our cities and.
तुम्ही फिल्म करतना गोवा म्हणटकच सगळ्यांक एक्सायटेड आसता की गोंयान आमी कितें कितें पळयतली वेगवेगळे आनी तुवें खंयचे खंयचे सिनरीज म्हणजे गोंयचे कॅप्चर केल्या फिल्मान #मोक स्पेशली.
No, generally when filmmaking is happening in Goa, even the Hindi sector or the Tamil sector, they all go towards the beaches and beachwear. But there is a life beyond that that's inside the city. So there is another story that goes for the local Goans, local people, the normal human being. So I've generally, all my films, my first film was also a musical film where Jackie was playing a role of a saxophonist. Jackie got the Goa State Award also for the best actor for that role. And that was a musical film. The second film also was musical. This is also a musical film since there are about 5 to 6 songs in the film. Commercially, properly scripted screenplay with a content. And this time the content, I would say it's like a proper commercial film, but the film revolves around like it's a woman-oriented film, and first time this film is related to women's monthly periods. People will understand that only after interval what's happening, because till then people don't know what the heroine is going through.
I've got Matthew and Ama joining us out here. My first question would be to Matthew. If you can sum up the movie in 60 seconds, how would you sum it up?
God, that's actually not that hard. It's based on a true story about a team of female boxers in Congo and their coach, really, who was an ex-child soldier, and put together this opportunity for women to learn boxing to help themselves heal from being victims of sexual violence.
Right. So we have Ama as well, who's a star from Netflix's Blood and Water series, who's acting in one of the lead roles of this film. Ama, how did you go about training for the film? It's boxing. Did you actually have to prepare and train a lot for it?
Yes, there was.
Kill the guns, baby.
Yes, there was a lot of training that went. Thank you for your question. There was a lot of training that went into this. I trained 4 hours a day, 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the evening, 6 days a week. It was very hectic, and I still box till this day. I really enjoyed it. It's such an amazing sport.
As an actor, when you choose a particular film, what's the criteria that you look at when you're picking a role?
You know, there is no criteria. The film should really tell you that, I always believed in one thing, that you don't choose a film chooses you. It's very simple. And when you are reading a script or hearing a narration, just keep an open mind. For me, it's very important that it is talking about something that has never talked about before, or it is featuring the world that I have never been part of. And it is offering me a character that I have never played before. So these are the things that you keep in your mind.
ह्या फिल्मांतल्यान सदाबार फिल्मांतल्यान तुमी गोंयकारांक किंवा जे प्रेक्षक आसा म्हणजे तांकां कितें संदेश दिवंक सोदता?
म्हाका फक्त एक फिलींग आनी एक एक्सपिरियन्सा बद्दल उलोवपाचें आशिल्लें की जे आमी म्हणटात की तो भायले आनी आमी भितरले आणि किंवा हे जे आम्ही लाईन्स ड्रॉ करता इनविजिबल लाईन्स ड्रॉ करता आम्ही ते इट्स नॉट नेसेसरी अँड बँड मेंबर करपाचो मेन हेतू म्हणल्यार इट इज थ्रू द लँग्वेज ऑफ म्युझीक दॅट दे कॅन कम्युनिकेट विथ इच अदर म्हणजे म्युझीक इज युनिवर्सल ताका आमी तूं गोंयचो आनी तूं भायलो अशें काय तुमी बंधन लावंक शकना सो म्हजो संदेश न्ही बट आय वूड लायक इन अ वर्ल्ड वेर देर आर नो बाउंड्रीज अशें आनी आमी सगळे जाण एकमेकांक वी कॅन सी इच अदर एज द ह्युमन्स दॅट वी आर.
So, as a director, being a lady is always kind of challenging. And to add to it, I guess you've taken in a film that is done in the Pahad. So, how challenging was it for you to roll your film and finish this filming in the mountains?
It was it was quite overwhelming, to be very honest. A logistical nightmare. I have been actually saying it was since it's very difficult to shoot in the mountains. There are barely any people who deal with the equipments or operators are there. So I did the casting locally. It was most of like one woman production running before the film went on the floor for shoot. But I had a great support system. My parents, they helped out. My friends, they helped out. It was a wonderful collaboration of people who just purely did it for the love of cinema.
So tell us where this idea of creating awareness about Hansen disease and the stigma that goes along with it came from.
Yes, as I said, about 15 years ago, I first visited Jodhpur, and I was invited to visit the ashram where I met the patients, and they literally touched my heart. And speaking with them and hearing their stories, specifically, they're what we can call the last generation of people with severe physical effects and the stigmatization. At that time, they weren't all cured, but now, 15 years later, they've all gone through the medication, so they're now all cured, and there's no chance of transmission. And what touched me is that the fact that they have had this faith and combination of fate that has affected their lives. So I have now coupled with 5 worldwide NGOs for leprosy. And I'm going to use Shadi, the short film, as it plays out in festivals to raise the awareness and also have the film be a tool to inspire people to get tested, to expand the message to around their families and their communities. And I hope that through the film, a very poetic, artistic, beautifully crafted example of film, that it can open a new door for a different type of audience.
ह्या इफीक 54व्या इफीक तुमचो हॅशटॅग मोग ह्या फिल्मान तुमकां एक संद गावपाची तर ताज्या संदर्भान तुमचे कडेन कशें पावले.
हॅशटॅग मोग ही सेकंड फिल्म आसा हांव डिरेक्टर निलेश मालकर बरोबर करता तें. फर्स्ट फिल्म सोलकारी आशिल्लें तेतून जॅकी श्रॉफ आनी क्रू स्टोरी वॉज ऑफ अ म्युझिशियन. ह्या फावटी द स्टोरी इज रिगार्डिंग अ सेंट्रल लेडी कॅरेक्टर आनी तेतून म्हाका खुबशीं सॉंग्स म्हणपाक संदी मेळ्ळ्या. पण ह्या फावटी वेगळें जालां की म्युझीक डिरेक्टर इज फ्रॉम सावथ, सो डेनिस सर आनी तांचें संगीत मातशें वेगळें आनी तेतून कोंकणी उतरां आनी कोंकणी हेतून म्हाका दिसता आउटपूट बरो जाला. अँड कॅची सॉंग्स आसा, लव सॉंग्स आसात, एक पार्टी सॉंग आसा. सो ते म्हाका दिसता आतां आमचे जे युवा महोत्सव बी जाता कोंकणीचे तेतून ते घासतले.
So the protagonists in the film are nonagenarians. They're in the 90s. But those are not the ages of the actual cast. Talk to us about the casting process, please.
Yeah, when you write it, it's very easy. You can just write, this man is 100 years old. But when you get practical about it, when you decide to shoot it, is when, we always knew that the biggest problem for a film like this, the biggest stumbling block would be the casting. Because finding an actual 100-year-old actor who can go through a 50-day schedule won't be easy. Because film shooting is tough and you won't be able to do that. So then I knew that I wanted to find actors who are probably in their 70s to late 70s, early 80s, who are still very fit, but who are good enough as an actor to not look that age. And they can feel closer to 100. They can act closer to 100, and that's how we zeroed in on Vijay Raghavan. And Vijay Raghavan sir is actually 72.
Wow.
But he's like he's 50.
Yeah.
And Leelama is 84, but she looks like she's 70. And both of them together, they're fantastic actors. They've been acting together for like 100 years, and combined their experience would be 100 years of acting experience. So for them, it was not that difficult.
India for one of the very first times out here, especially in Goa. How do you feel? How do you like Goa? How are you enjoying Goa out here?
I always wanted to come to Goa because when I was growing up,
Some of my friends, actors that I worked when I was young, older actors, would come to Goa. And for me, it seems such a long way away. And for me, it seems such an exotic place. And I always wondered about it. I just think it has everything. You know, it has the beaches, it has the jungle. We're staying at the wonderful Taj Hotel. It's just, and then of course we have great friends who, when you come to a place, especially in India, when you have a great Indian friend, then it's even 3 times better than it would ever be.
She established herself with several commercial films like Kuch Kuch Hota Hai, Chalte Chalte and Veer Zara. She also played an exceptional role as a blind and deaf woman in Black and an abused wife in the political drama Yuva. Her most recent performance came in the drama Mrs. Chatterjee vs. Norway. Just as we are used to seeing compelling performances from her, that was exactly the topic of conversation today. Here is the versatile Rani Mukherjee.
If an actor is able to be versatile, that shows the different facets of different people, because at the end of the day as actors, we are portraying different people in cinema. You know, every story is about characters. So we are characters in the film. And the more diverse you can make those characters, it's more interesting also for the audience as well as for me. Like, I would be bored if I had to play something like who I am in all my films. But the energy I get is through the characters that I'm playing. Like, they inspire me.
Right from Gordon Gekko, for which you won an Oscar in Wall Street, to the modern day generation who knows you as Dr. Hank Pym in the Marvel movies, which are your most favorite or challenging characters that you played?
The ones that I like is a movie called Falling Down. Falling Down. I like that. I like that picture a lot. There's a picture I did called Wonder Boys that a lot of people saw, which I think you'll enjoy. But I guess I'm generally happy following the scenario which I said about material, that I've had a number of successful movies.
Pallavi, hi and welcome to DD Goa. Would you love to tell everybody viewing you right now how challenging was it for you to play this role of, in this particular film?
So I come from Shimla, Himachal Pradesh, so the terrain, the geography was not new to me, it was a familiar background. But it was the first time that I was definitely shooting in the Himalayas, which felt a little different because very often than not, we've seen Himalayas in a certain way. We've seen the actors romance in the mountains, but this was a story which really spoke about the issues about people living in the Himalayas. So it was definitely interesting. It was challenging. It was a new insight into what life could be in the Himalayas. Interesting also because we shot in the month of February, so it was very, very, very cold. But we did have fun. We thoroughly enjoyed.
Hello everyone and welcome to DD Goa. I have with me the legend of the sports, Mr. Muthai Mulitaran. Of course, he's here for the red carpet. He's traded in the green grass for the red carpet today, and of course, he's here for his film 800, the movie. So how do you feel being out here at Asia's premier film festival?
I'm very happy because never been into these functions at all. So something new to me, and I'm glad that we have put our movie here. So maybe you can see by all the people in India.
Adem, who acts as a troubled ex-military man, plays a crucial role in the movie as the black sheep of the family. I would like to ask the actor, you had such a difficult role to play in this film. Okay, how challenging was it and how did you do it?
This character of Adem is an other within a community which is composed of others. So this community is already severely othered, right? So there are others isolated, but the character of Adem is the other of the other. And it was a challenge for me to play this part. So the way I prepared to my role was I kept asking questions about this character, what he thinks, how he feels. And we had long conversations with Tufan. I asked many questions. And when the set began, so through our work together, the character developed gradually. I also tried to explore the comic element, if there is any comic element in Adem. So whether there are instances where he has fun. So preparing for the part, I danced inside my house a lot to bring out the comic in him as well, the humor in him.
Talking to Lindsay Taylor, to Sophie and to Frederica, the two beautiful actresses of the movie Endless Summer Syndrome. First question to you, Lindsay. This is a homage to French cinema, you said.
Yes, Iranian director Kava Danishman, who's based in Prague, and co-writer Cem Degger, Turkish actor, director, writer. They wrote the story together with the assistance of screenwriter Laurine Bobby from France. And they wanted to set this very simple story with a big secret and a big punch, and they wanted to set it in France, and they wanted to pay homage to what they consider the creme de la creme of filmmaking, which is French cinema.
Frederica, this movie talks about family incest, but it's this idyllic summer location. What do you want to say about these two movements, the summer which is there and lurking darkness?
I think it creates interesting contrast because the story is dark and the aesthetic is very beautiful and bright and very sunny. It feels like it's 30 degrees in the film, and the image is a really contrast with the very dark and deep story behind.
And with that, we come to an end of another great edition of the International Film Festival of India. Thank you for joining us on the coverage of the cinematic journey. Until the reel unspools again, it is goodbye and adios from the entire team at IFFI Village in Panaji, Goa. Keep watching DD Goa on the various platforms as we continue coverage of the various events happening in and around Goa.